Hello from World University and School and the WUAS weekly business meeting, the WUAS news and question and answer on Monday, March 23rd, 2026 at 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern time. I think it's possibly 11 p.m. or 10:30 p.m. India time and uh, 1 a.m. the next day Hong Kong time. As we wait to see if people will join this WUAS news and question and answer, this open conversation, uh, I'd like to share a little news with you further. And regarding first, Stanford panel on AI productivity and jobs last Tuesday, March 17th, 2026, in the Stanford Hoover Institute, which I attended in person and found fascinating. Two panels. Afterward, I went up to meet some of the speakers and met uh, James Manyika, who's a vice president at Google. And with him, I met Julie Wong, who is the engagement uh, productivity lead at, um, the executive engagement lead in their research labs and technology and society. And I also met briefly the 57th Prime Minister of Great Britain, Rishi Sunak, who's now a member of Parliament there. And Julie Wong gave me her card uh, as the as Google's executive engagement lead for research labs and technology and society with her office in San Francisco. And I have just followed up with her about possibly growing World University and School further with Google because Google World University and School is in a Grow with Google WUAS program. So stay tuned. Perhaps next week, next Monday at 10 a.m. on March 30th, 2026, I'll be able to let you know more about what is emerging with Google's executive engagement lead for research labs and technology and society, Julie Wong. Uh, so, dear World University and School community, Universitians all, how to make your voice heard and public. And I ask, as presiding and recording clerk of World University and School, with a weekly business meeting loosely conducted in the manner of unprogrammed friends, Quakers, and have asked this also last week when I sent this WS News and Agenda out, and may have heard back in a variety of ways. But just this morning, I received Middle States Commission on Higher Education video onto my smartphone, which I haven't watched yet, on self-study, which is part of their uh, accreditation process, as World University and School has also reached out to the US federal government with an interest in um, possibly US federal and government engaging Middle States Commission on Higher Education to help WUAS accredit further for our online free WUS degrees from home, building on MIT OpenCourseWare in 7 languages, and potentially for students in the US from all 50 US states. And the self-study word makes me think of the yoga um, concept term word svadhyaya, which is also self-study and an integral part of the 8 limbs of yoga, uh, which I've been writing about also in these WS News and Question and Answer. It's a niyama, I think, and am wondering to what degree further World University and School can grow with self-study and in the accreditation process as we seek possibly to explore some sort of provisional accreditation with Middle States Commission on Higher Education, paralleling the process that the Western Association for Schools and Colleges Senior has with their offices based in this San Francisco Bay Area, or where they were based in the Oakland area in 2012, 2013, when I first sought to accredit World University and School. So could we matriculate students as a provisionally accredited organization, university, and then go through the process of those students finishing their degrees, finishing 4 years of a free bachelor's degree at World University and School, graduate them, and then become fully accredited, which I think was roughly the Middle States Commission, roughly the Western Association of Schools and Colleges process. And could Middle States Commission on Higher Education, with their offices in the greater Philadelphia, Pennsylvania area, possibly engage this process too, so that World University and School can further accredit with Middle States Commission on Higher Education. So again, World University and School is seeking to accredit further, and I received this helpful video from the Middle States Commission on Higher Education, with offices in the greater Philadelphia, Pennsylvania area, on my smartphone the other week. And the video is titled "Your Voice Making Public Comments That Matter in Federal Policy," dated February 24th, 2026, with Professor Matsudaira, who is formerly the inaugural chief economist at the Department of Education, as being interviewed by a Middle States Commission on Higher Education person. And I'm writing further to follow up on how even to deploy the full federal toolkit, and see the MacArthur Foundation's Urban Institute, urban.org, set of tweets below regarding this phrase, deploy the full federal toolkit, and to potentially begin to accredit free World University and School, first for students in the USA, but also for students in the other 200 countries, just as students come from all over the world to go to MIT, for example, partly because of its accreditation with NECHE, New England Commission on Higher Education, and building on Creative Commons 4 licensed, and with World University and School building on Creative Commons 4 licensed MIT OpenCourseWare, which says Creative Commons 4 licensing says WUS can, 1, share freely, 2, adapt it with, for example, machine learning and AI, but 3, non-commercially. So we can't ask for tuition as we build on MIT OpenCourseWare further. Thoughts, ideas, ways to proceed? Professor Matsudaira, formerly inaugural Deputy Undersecretary and inaugural Chief Economist at U.S. Department of Education, and Chief Economist of the Council of Economic Advisors. Perhaps this video this morning that I received from Middle States Commission on Higher Education is a kind of response from Professor Matsudera and Middle States Commission on Higher Education President Heather Perfetti. And for a little history, WUS sought accreditation initially with BPPE and Western and WASC Senior in California as early as around 2012, 14 years ago. And could World University and School even begin to matriculate students at accrediting World University and School this autumn, 2026, this September 1st, 2026? WUS continues WS continues to receive, so next item. WS also continues to receive from Wikidata, Wikipedia, Wikimedia, Phabricator, PHABRICATOR developments with implications for, say, WUS coding for all 7.9 billion people on the planet. And to code also, for WS to code for speakers of all 7,159 living languages as items. For example, on the Phabricator global watch list with some of their platforms process for adding various projects to code for on Wikidata. And so World University and Schools should be able to develop with these Wikidata, Wiki base, backend structured knowledge database processes, coding processes, information technology platforms. Wikidata can be the basis for AI and ML libraries, and it's in around 342 languages, which Wikipedia and Wikimedia are in. And again, World University and School seeks to be in all 7,159 living languages. And so this focus by Phabricator, by Wikidata on global watch list will be potentially very relevant here for World University and School, growing globally in many, many ways. Greetings from World University and School, building on CC4 licensed MIT OCW in 7 languages and Wikipedia, Wikidata in 342 active languages. World University and School continues to plan online free to students, bachelor, PhD, law, MD, IB High School, similar, AAAS, and master's degrees in each of all 200 countries and in their main languages. And as WUS proceeds with accreditation and in a Grow with Google WUS program too. And to revolutionize education with machine learning and AI with World University in School. And see again the incredible hashtag Toolify AI WUAS article by Peter Norvig, Google AI Director, and regarding World University and School building on MIT OCW in 7 languages and Wikidata as a backend structured knowledge database regarding Wikipedia in about 342 languages. Again, the title of the article is Revolutionizing Education with Machine Learning and AI, hashtag World University in School, updated on March 2nd, 2024. And it mentions MIT OpenCourseWare and language diversity with MIT OpenCourseWare in 7 languages and currently, and also building a realistic virtual Earth for even scientists and all of us to add to, and also mentions studying enjoyment in learning. And it also touches on developing further a virtual Harbin hot springs, and incredibly, to study further bliss, to study how to potentially illicit bliss, possibly neural cascades of pleasure uh, in this realistic virtual Harbin Hot Springs, realistic virtual Earth as it grows with brain science, for example. So per this hashtag Tulify AI WUS Article 2, World University and School is developing a hashtag realistic virtual Earth, hashtag for STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and think in hashtag Google Street View with hashtag G time sliders, G maps, a very robust platform at Google Maps, and hashtag Gemini AI, and at the hashtag G cell view and hashtag G molecule view levels, and as STEM field sites and classrooms for new kinds of digital university learning experiences. Having taught at least one university from a textbook, WUS is also seeking to move beyond the textbook for our free online WUS degrees, as we accredit. And the second wing of WUS, the WUS Corporation, Educational Services Stores, academic press at WUS in 7,159 living languages with machine learning and with human and machine translation, seeks to invent the book anew, publishing from Google Street View, hashtag text in the sidebar. So World University and Schools open, WUS weekly business meeting, news and question and answer, meet on Mondays. So today, March 23rd, 2026, at 9 a.m. Mexico City time, 10 a.m. Pacific time, 11 a.m. Mountain time, 1 p.m. Eastern time, 5 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, 10:30 p.m. or 11:30 p.m. India time, 1 a.m. Tuesday the next day, Hong Kong time. But please check your time converter from any of your 24 time zones to join this open WUS weekly business meeting with Zoom URL in the open WUS weekly business meeting agenda and news below and in the following WUS blog posts. So the agenda for March 23rd is in a blog post beginning Ship Rock, New Mexico, in both blogs, worlduniversityandschool.blogspot.com and scott-mccloud.blogspot.com. I posted it there last week, Monday, March 16th, for today's WUS weekly business meeting. So World University and School is growing daily, and blog post by blog post 2 in my daily blog, scott-mccloud.blogspot.com, and waiting, I think, for the California exempt filing process to advance, and also the Candid GuideStar platform affiliated with the IRS to develop, and World University and School's GuideStar profile number is 27-3105368. So we're a 501c3 or similar. And perhaps the California exempt filing process is waiting for blockchain developments in the state of California to advance to, and waiting for developments with how the California exempt filing process would interact with the state of California's for-profit general stock company legal entity filing process, of which the WS Corporation is a legal entity. And WS is waiting for accreditation opportunities to further develop, and for money, how to grow an engaged and engaging research and wiki learning community with wiki teachers and wiki learners teaching and learning in any of these subjects. The wiki page for that is wiki.worlduniversityandschool.org/wiki/subjects with a capital S, and which has both academic subjects and creative subjects, and where you can create a subject in a subject you learn that you love, for example, or know much about or want to share your expertise about, and where also you can, for example, check to see if there's any MIT OpenCourseWare courses, or not check to see if there is any, and just start teaching to your YouTube channel after creating a subject in an field, an area you love. And this these open wiki subjects will develop in all 200 countries and in their main languages for people-to-people wiki teaching and wiki learning with time. So first, it's in English, where you can teach about what you love. And in all of this further, possibly both online and in Canyon 94516, potentially too. So all the best, abolitionally, a best Steam Creative Commons licensed OpenCourseWare wiki at WorldUnivAndSCH on Twitter X. Hashtag WUAS abolition movement is growing to protect people. And see the two blog posts from October of 2025 in both blogs, beginning Eagle, Aquila, World University and School. And in WUS seeking to code for all 7.9 billion people on the planet to facilitate wiki free universal education and to end poverty worldwide. Yogically, friendly, non-theist friend, NTF, non-theist Quaker, NTQ, Quaker, and Unitarian Universalist Church greetings. Kind regards, Scott G.K. McLeod, president at World University and School, founder, president, CEO, and professor at presiding and recording clerk to loosely in the manner of unprogrammed NTF friends Quakers. And the recording will be posted to the main active YouTube channel presently, youtube.com/@ScottMcLeod-World-University/videos. So more about WES accreditation, potentially with Middle States Commission on Higher Education, and how to deploy the full U.S. federal toolkit ahead as we move to the first of two wings, the 501c3 nonprofit and state of California tax-exempt legal entity wing, the World University and School wing. First of two WUS wings, which is developing and building on CC licensed best STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, mathematics, OpenCourseWare, and as wiki, and which is the World University and School wing. Its main beginning webpage is worlduniversityandschool.org presently, and see the two tax ID numbers at the bottom of this page for World University and School as a tax-exempt legal entity, both at the U.S. federal and the state of California levels. So agenda item 0. Check out the WUAS video minutes recording from last week, posted on March 16th, 2026, as minutes. Agenda item 1. From Tuesday, March 10th, 2026, in a blog post titled Taiwan, Pleione formosana, it's a flower. Stanford, the FIMI Challenge, countering foreign information manipulation and interference in Taiwan and the United States, and Free Taiwan World University and School, building on MIT OCW in traditional Chinese. And great to talk with you, Jerry Yu, YU, who was the lead presenter in this Stanford Hoover Institute double roundtable set of talks, presentations for about 10 minutes in the intermission. And thanks for giving me your card. Sorry I didn't have a card on me to give you in return, but glad you were able to see the worlduniversityandschool.org sticker on my MacBook Air computer laptop. And yes, it would be great if we could arrange for you to be a speaker at a World University and School online event per your request, and possibly even in opening free Taiwan World University and School, which will become accessible from https://wiki.worlduniversityandschool.org/wiki/nation_states for online free WUS degrees, bachelor, PhD, law, MD, IB high school, similar for 16 to 18-year-olds, AS degrees, 2-year undergraduate degrees, and master's degrees in the Mandarin language, Chinese language initially, and building on Creative Commons 4 licensed MIT OCW in traditional Chinese. And you can see that at opencw.apprendi.org in translated courses, translated traditional Chinese. With MIT OpenCourseware's approximately more than 2,500 plus free CC4 licensed courses, which again, where CC4 licensing says anyone can share, for example, OpenCourseWare freely, adapt it, for example, with AI and ML, but 3 not commercially. So for MIT OpenCourseWare has both undergraduate and graduate courses in English, and I think in traditional Chinese. But MIT has neither a law school nor a medical school. So WUS will have to develop the law and medical OpenCourseWare, and potentially in Chinese, possibly in communication with Stanford Law Codex for the law courses, of which I'm a member, or in other ways, and Stanford Law and Stanford Medicine. As we talked about, World University and School in the USA is continuing to seek to accredit, and WUS has the green light from the Middle States Commission on Higher Education, with offices in the greater Philadelphia, PA area. And as we spoke, WUS is newly seeking to accredit, potentially by deploying the full US federal toolkit. And see worlduniversityandschool.blogspot.com, the blog post beginning Peneda Gerês National Park in Portugal, both blogs, agenda item number 2, and in other places in this WS Weekly Business Meeting blog post 2 regarding deploy the full federal toolkit. A ginormous WUAS project and brainstorming. How could all of you presenters at this Stanford Hoover FIMI afternoon talk from 2 to 5 and Taiwan World University and School even develop also mainland China World University and School, with the beginning of China World University and School in English, wiki also posted, accessible from nation states, wiki.worlduniversityandschool.org/wiki/nation_states, and the China_law_school_at_WUS wiki subject page, still in English only, not yet in Chinese, but which contains some resources also from the Stanford Guiding Cases Law Project from about 10 years ago. And also the China Medical School at WUS, which is a wiki subject page at World University and School, also not yet in traditional Chinese. And also all in the Taiwanese Mandarin language Chinese, where the Mandarin language Chinese wiki subject page has begun, but in English only so far. But not yet the the Taiwan World University and School, for example, would not likely develop the Wu language, uh, Chinese wiki subject or school or university, since the Wu language, as I understand it, is not spoken in Taiwan, but it is spoken in mainland China, where China World University and School would have to develop free online WUS degrees like those above in the Wu language, WU. Could the Taiwan Law School at WUAS even address justice issues in Taiwan, which you mentioned and we talked about, Jerry, with time? And regarding the WUS Taiwanese law faculty members, WUS hires over time as well, and possibly regarding Taiwan constitutional issues, etc. And I just found two articles on Taiwan justice issues that might be a focus in these regards. And how could such Taiwan Law School at WUAS law faculty members with the emerging China Law School at WUAS and with Singapore Law School at WUAS faculty members, Macau and Hong Kong WUS law schools too, address the issues you were addressing regarding the TikTok social media platform and other social media, for example, at this Stanford symposium. Thanks for mentioning, Larry Diamond, speaking truth to power. Since, for example, WUAS is significantly friendly NTF Quaker informed. And thanks, Wei Ping, for mentioning yoga, since WUAS is also 8 Limbs of Yoga informed. Also, World University and School, both wings, are seeking to code for all 7.9 billion people on the planet, each a Wikidata PIN number from here, you at World University, and to facilitate free universal education, people to people, wiki teaching and wiki learning, among speakers of all 7,159 living languages, and potentially to end poverty worldwide by distributing Stanford MindPi cryptocurrency, free money daily, which you can get here at mindpi.com, SGKMAC, with this invitation code, SGKMAC. And you and your friends can begin to get free Pi cryptocurrency daily by simply mining it every 24 hours, clicking 2 buttons, taking less than 5 seconds. By distributing Stanford MindPi to almost all 7.9 billion people on Earth, say especially to the poorest billion, and both Taiwan and China have significant poverty, I just saw in a Google search, and potentially to create a single worldwide cryptocurrency or a main one. Could you at Taiwan World University and School even help begin all of World University and School with matriculated students? I think that Taiwanese students in the Chinese language studying for free online from home WUS degrees wouldn't have the same dropout issues as US students, for example, regarding WUAS retention planning in all 200 countries. And again, WUAS is newly seeking to accredit, potentially with deploying the full US federal toolkit. Might all of you like to be on, all of you panelists at this Stanford FIMI talk? Like to be on a WUS panel together as Taiwan World University and School begins to offer its free online degrees with matriculating Taiwanese students, say, studying for free Taiwan WUS bachelor and Taiwan WUS law degrees or similar. Read more about this in the blog post beginning Taiwan Pleiyon Formosa in my blog dated March of 2026, scott-mccloud.blogspot.com. Agenda item 1A. Sending from here to, and please see Peter Norvig's incredible hashtag Tulify AI WUAS article, Revolutionizing Education with Machine Learning and AI, World University and School, updated March 2nd, 2024, the article in the tulify.ai webpage, mentioning language diversity with MIT OpenCourseWare, a hashtag realistic virtual earth, studying enjoyment in learning rigorously, a hashtag virtual Harbin hot springs as physical digital STEM field sites. Harbin is a focus of all 5 of my books. And even studying bliss at virtual Harbin, and much more. How might we create a realistic virtual Taiwan, hashtag realistic virtual Taiwan, and think in Google Street View, Google Maps, with hashtag TensorFlow AI and Gemini AI, and at the G Cell View and G Molecule View levels, and with Little Pegman in Google Street View becoming hashtag avatar agent electronic health records for all approximately 23 million Taiwanese, and as potential aging reversal and extreme longevity genetic drug therapies emerge, FDA approved, by 2050 for the first such gene therapies. For your information further, Free World University and School, building on MIT OCW in 7 languages and on Wikidata, Wikimedia, structured knowledge database in 342 languages, is in a Grow with Google WUAS program. Friendly greetings, yogically, best regards, Scott McCloud. That was a thanks to a great panel, a great symposium called the FIMI Challenge, FIMI Challenge, Countering Foreign Information Manipulation and Interference in Taiwan and the United States in the Stanford Hoover Institute. Read more about it in the blog post Taiwan Pleiyon Formosa. Agenda item 2. How best at World University and SCH at WUS Press to grow in all 19 Walmart countries out of about 200 in capital cities. And see the blog post in World University and Schools blog titled Walmart WUAS CEO's New CPO from March of 2026. How best to grow World University and SCH WS Press in all 19 Walmart countries in capital cities, a hashtag WUAS store within a store model, in a hashtag Walmart WUAS collaboration, and in hashtag WUAS accrediting potentially with hashtag MSCHE by deploying full hashtag US Federal Toolkit. Posted that also to LinkedIn. More about that in the blog post titled Beginning Glaucus Macaw, Anadarynchus glaucus. Agenda item 3. Just checking to see if people might want to join us further. Not yet. So agenda item 3. Excited that hashtag Gemini AI and at Google Research, LLMs, are reading scientific literature on hashtag aging reversal and hashtag extreme longevity, hashtag gene therapies. Excited that, and regarding vaccines, hashtag vaccines WUS in many languages, and potentially synthesizing them in a hashtag realistic virtual earth with hashtag avatar agent electronic health records and a Gemini Google reply to this. Check it out. I asked Google, Gemini, how are Google DeepMind, Google Research, Gemini AI, and similar models reading the iterating scientific literature in many languages that publish many scientific papers on aging reversal and extreme longevity genetics, and for vaccines too? And how might this reading of the literature, faster and more deeply potentially than humans can, speed up the development of these gene therapies for humans, and especially in a realistic virtual earth? And see the incredible Peter Norvig Tulify AI article. E.g. at World University and School, building on MIT OCW in 7 languages with those URLs: opencw.aprende.org, translated courses, and ocw.mit.edu. A realistic virtual earth for genetics, a realistic virtual earth for synthetic biology, a realistic virtual earth for biomedical engineering, and interoperating with our avatar agent electronic health records, thinking Pegman in Google Street View with TimeSlider. And Gemini replies, large language models, LLMs, and specialized AI systems from Google DeepMind and Google Research are transforming how scientific literature is ingested, synthesized, and applied to complex fields like longevity genetics and vaccinology. Here is an analysis of how these models process vast data sets and how that speed can be leveraged within digital twins and virtual environments. 1. Multilingual ingestion and iteration. Models like Gemini utilize multimodal and cross-lingual training, allowing them to process research papers in dozens of languages simultaneously. And read more about this in the blog post beginning Nymphaea pubescens in my blog, scott-mccloud.blogspot.com from March of 2026. Agenda item 4, non-theist NTF friendly Quaker medical schools at WUAS. Set of Twitter posts about this. Non-theist NTF friendly hashtag Quaker medical schools at World and SCH, hashtag World University in School, building on hashtag MIT OCW in 7 languages and in 200 hashtag WUAS countries, with a hashtag realistic virtual earth for surgery. See the very helpful Google AI mode about this, a response about this. And stay tuned. See Peter Norvig's article, Revolutionizing Education with Machine Learning and AI, about a realistic virtual earth too. And the beginning World University Medical School wiki link is in this agenda item as well. What Google AI said about this is World University and School, WUAS, is an initiative aimed at building on online MIT OCW-centric university, focusing on free wiki-based education in all 200 countries. It intends to integrate, but is not officially part of, MIT OCW OpenCourseware, and aims to facilitate online accredited medical schools. Key details regarding this initiative include to establish a free-to-use Wikipedia-like university, providing education in many languages, It is designed around the concept of free online MIT OCW-centric materials. Medical focus. The project, led by founder Scott McLeod, is planning to include accredited online medical schools. The scope. The ambition is to operate in 200 countries. MIT connection. While using MIT OCW materials, World University and School operates independently of MIT, which is a top-ranked private research institution in Cambridge, Mass. You can read the Google AI mode response and more about this also in the blog post from March of 2026 in my blog, scott-mcleod.blogspot.com, beginning Nymphaea pubescens flower. Agenda item 5, restorative yoga classes on Saturdays, and as we may live to 150 and well beyond, want to explore these Angela Farmer yoga asana explorations in the videos to the left on her page, on her website on a laptop screen on March 14th, 2026. Check them out. Interesting openings, yogically. Victor doesn't have any yoga movement teachings on his page yet, it appears, that he teaches. And check out their yoga teaching self-studies, svadhyaya. I'll call this the Sanskrit word for study of the self, as Victor and Angela translate yoga from the East to the West, emerging out of the 1960s and 1970s in their yoga teachings on these pages at the URL angela-victor.com/who, WHO. And more about this in the blog post beginning Sacred Lotus Nelumbo Nucifera in my blog, scott-mcleod.blogspot.com from March of 2026. Agenda item 5B, appreciating 8 limbs of yoga. How best to celebrate yoga, #celebrate yoga, in exploring yoga, #yoga consciousness, #yoga meditation, in #8 limbs of yoga. It's a Twitter post, Twitter X post. How best to celebrate it in exploring #yoga consciousness in 8 limbs of yoga and regarding #yama, #niyama, #asana, posture, #pranayama, breath control, #pratyahara, withdrawal of the senses, #dharana, concentration, #dhyana, meditation, #samadhi, pure contemplation, absorption, #Angela and Victor inspired yoga. And see the Yoga Wiki subject or Wiki school at World University and School. And more about this in the blog post beginning Sacred Lotus Nelumbo Nucifera. 5C, how will or might we celebrate exploring #yoga consciousness in #8 limbs of yoga if we live until age 150 or well beyond, and as new ways to yoga celebrate emerge in the #yoga and longevity yoga convo conversation. So on Twitter X, LinkedIn as well, a hashtag for #yoga and longevity yoga convo, CONVO, referring to a conversation about this emerging. And found this perspective from Gemini AI in asking about your research, Professor George Church, who receives these invitations to yoga explorations on Saturdays at possibly 8 a.m. Pacific time. George Church, a Harvard geneticist, is pioneering anti-aging research aimed at reversing aging in human cells and animals using gene therapy, specifically CRISPR technology and partial cellular reprogramming. His work focuses on targeting the epigenome to potentially extend healthy human lifespan, with animal trials for rejuvenation already showing success. Key details of George Church's age reversal research. Goal, the ultimate goal is to extend the healthy human lifespan beyond 100 years. Read more about this in the blog post beginning Nymphaea pubescens. In my blog, scott-mccloud.blogspot.com from March of 2026. And what if we live beyond 200 years with longevity genetic drug therapies emerging, FDA approved, possibly first ones by 2050? Also, George Church, David Sun Kong, two professors in How to Grow Almost Anything synthetic biology course at MIT and Harvard course for registered students. I was also a global listener, am a global listener in it. I asked Yogically Gemini AI about principal investigators, scientists in about 4 countries who might have doubled the lifespan of the Drosophila melanogaster fruit fly, and regarding approaches to longevity genetics that might be extrapolated to humans, as challenging as this is interspecies-wise with time, and as World University and School seeks to build out further a hashtag realistic virtual Earth for extreme longevity, hashtag realistic virtual Earth for genes, and think Google Street View with TimeCiter, Gmaps, TensorFlow AI, and Gemini, and at the G cell view level, and G molecule view levels, and with Little Pegman becoming R, and the fruit fly's avatar agent electronic health records for further interspecies longevity research with computer science, AI, and ML. And regarding the Princeton University Drosophila brain FlyWire connectome project, where researchers just added a fly's body to the FlyWire connectome brain, this wiring diagram of the Drosophila fruit fly, and which FlyWire connectome project is significantly informed by citizen science research too. And I got some great replies back from Gemini regarding longevity genetics science in Drosophila fly country by country and principal investigator scientists. The names of some scientists in the British Isles and in Japan, and in 3 German language countries, auf Deutsch, and see also the blog post beginning Sacred Lotus Nelumbo Nucifera. So seeking to get started at developing further a realistic virtual Earth for yoga asana, a realistic virtual Earth for yoga, a realistic virtual Earth for cells, and a realistic virtual Earth for genetics, a realistic virtual Earth for species, in the shop, in a newly safe vacant with deed, 670 Ridgecrest Road, Canyon 94516, and in an iterating realistic virtual Earth. See again Peter Norvig's article, Revolutionizing Education with Machine Learning and AI. How best to hashtag celebrate yoga? Could this be samadhi, the 8th limb of 8 limbs of yoga, in one sense, or oneness in yoga meditation, or in exploring hashtag yoga consciousness in hashtag 8 limbs of yoga in yoga explorations on this Saturday, March 14th, or this past Saturday, March 21st. Please let me or us know, perhaps by wiki editing this yoga wiki subject at wiki.worlduniversityandschool.org/wiki/yoga. Thoughts, questions, suggestions? Namaste, yogically warm regards. And see also the blog post beginning Chiloglottis wasp orchids from March of 2026, and the blog post beginning Sacred Lotus Nelumbo Nucifera, both in my blog, scott-mccloud.blogspot.com. Um, Further, moving on, in the remaining 4 minutes, um, great to meet you, Jason Meja, who cell biologist, um, on a recent Saturday in the Berkeley Claremont Public Library, and with your UC Davis genetics and San Francisco State University cell biology degrees. How might we explore further building out on the digital side a realistic virtual earth for aging reversal, for yoga asana, for extreme longevity, and that's group buildable with STEM Wiki Virtual World Graphy and Ethno Wiki Virtual World Graphy, and with Spanish speaking and Portuguese speaking students, both languages which you know, and potentially in the country of El Salvador and the country of Brazil, where you have roots, and in a hashtag WUS multimedia hospital room prototype for teaching hospitals around the world to develop, and with databases and code source genetics libraries especially. Agenda item 6, Flywire Connectome. Are scientists mapping all cells and molecules and genes in the Drosophila melanogaster brain, and how to develop this for aging reversal and extreme longevity genetic drug therapies, and in a realistic virtual earth, and with them just having added a body to the Flywire Connectome fruit fly brain. How also, regarding Yoga WUS, to hashtag 2x lifespan, to 2 times the lifespan of a Drosophila fly with the Flywire Connectome, and in a realistic virtual earth. Further, agenda item 7. Great to meet you, Jason Meja, in the Berkeley Public Library, and regarding your genetics and cell biology degrees, and possibly regarding a hashtag realistic virtual earth for cells, the Flywire Connectome, and WUS in Portuguese and Spanish in Brazil and in El Salvador. Adding you to the WUS yoga and longevity genetics conversation emails as well. And see the blog post beginning Yellow Water Lily Nufar Lutea. Agenda item 8, yoga-related Nobel Prize winners. I searched on this and found Gemini mentioning, or Google AI mode mentioning Muhammad Yunus, Elizabeth in 2006, Nobel Peace Prize, Elizabeth Blackburn, 2009, Nobel in Physiology or Medicine, hashtag Anthony Leggett, 2003, Nobel in Physics, and hashtag Rabindranath Tagore, 1913, Nobel in Literature, and regarding 8 limbs of yoga at World Univ and SCH. A set of Twitter posts about this, more about this in the blog post beginning Nymphaea pubescens in my blog, scott-mccloud.blogspot.com from March of 2026. Agenda item 9, yoga philosophy from the Bhagavad Gita to 8 limbs of yoga. There are some references in the Bhagavad Gita that that yoga's subsequent codification as 8 limbs of yoga seems to have drawn on. With regarding to 8 limbs of yoga, the yamas and niyamas, it's described as divine qualities in Bhagavad Gita. With regard to asana and pranayama and 8 limbs of yoga, chapter 6 in the Bhagavad Gita advises a firm seat and regulating the incoming and outgoing breath. So that could be in Ashtanga yoga, 8 limbs of yoga, both asana sitting poses and pranayama breathing poses. Regarding 8 limbs of yoga, pratyahara, breath control, Chapter 2 in the Bhagavad Gita compares a yogi to a tortoise withdrawing its limbs into the shell. A source for Eight Limbs of Yoga. And regarding samadhi in Eight Limbs of Yoga, in the Bhagavad Gita, this is defined as the state where the mind, disciplined by yoga, becomes still, like a flame in a windless place. Fascinating, great images. The Ashtanga Yoga might date from 2,200 years ago, written down. Bhagavad Gita might date from thousands of years ago, first orally, maybe 2,800 years ago. Interesting to see how Eight Limbs of Yoga may emerge somehow culturally and linguistically from the Bhagavad Gita. Agenda item 10. At World, and a set of Twitter posts in these regards. At World Univ and SCH, at WS Press, at Sen Warren, Senator Elizabeth Warren, the whole world in hashtag G Street View with G time slider, e.g. for a hashtag realistic virtual earth for history. That's a very big idea. As hashtag WUAS academic campus, and for hashtag STEAM field sites, hashtag WUAS AI classrooms, beginning with the hashtag Harbin Hot Springs Gatehouse, with Google Maps link to that, to the Harbin Hot Springs Gatehouse, Google Street View link, and regarding at Harbin Book, regarding my first book, Naked Harbin Ethnography, a realistic virtual earth for STEM field sites and classrooms, AI classrooms, may well be emerging from Google Street View with time slider and a realistic virtual Harbin Hot Springs as we build out this realistic virtual earth. Read more about this in the blog post beginning Glaucus Macau and Rorinkis Glaucus. So moving to the other wing of WUS, the WUS Corporation, the second of two WUS wings, for-profit general stock company legal entity in the state of California. Also, the academic press in 7,159 languages, planned with machine learning, machine translation, and human translation. Agenda item A, and its current beginning website is World University and School /academicpress.html. Agenda item A, how best at World Univ and SCH at WUS Press to grow in all 19 Walmart countries out of about 200 countries in their capital cities. And see the blog post in World University and Schools blog beginning Walmart WUS Walmart CEO's new CPO, Dear. And regarding a WUS store within a store model in a hashtag Walmart WUS collaboration, and for hashtag WUAS delivery regarding hashtag WUAS outreach to hashtag WUAS students in hashtag WUAS accrediting, potentially with hashtag MSCHE, Middle States Commission on Higher Education, by deploying the full hashtag US federal toolkit, e.g. in the San Salvador Walmarts, with a link to Walmart's page for El Salvador Walmarts, where cell biologist in the SF Bay area, Jason Meja, has some roots. And how best at World University and School to do this in all 19 Walmart countries and in their capital cities and in those cities' languages. Some LinkedIn tweets about this, posts about this too. Read more about this in the blog post beginning Glaucus Macau and Rorinkis Glaucus. Agenda item B. Is the state of California building out a blockchain ledger for all of its real estate. Set of Twitter posts about this. Is the hashtag state of California building out a hashtag blockchain ledger for all of its hashtag real estate properties that will interoperate with hashtag US Fed GOVT blockchain for each hashtag US real estate property, and which might even be viewable in hashtag G Street View with hashtag G Time Slider in one hashtag realistic virtual earth at hashtag WUAS or similar, with a Gemini AI response to this, a very helpful response, saying that standards are being developed to make these interoperable, for example. Read about this more in blog post beginning Nymphaea pubescens in my blog, scott-mccloud.blogspot.com from March of 2026. Agenda item C. This is the title of my fourth book, published by the WUS Press, and we're in the academic press at World University and School wing of World University and School right now, wing of WUS. Title is To the Dance or the Pools? Virtually. How different it is to soak at Harbin than to realize it in virtual reality. It's a book, Poetry Press at World University and School from 2019. Someone reached out from a book club asking if they could feature it, and we've had interesting correspondence in these regards. I don't think it will be featured in this book. I'm kind of withdrawing it from being featured in the book club that this organizer of the book club, I think based in Lisbon, Portugal, was asking about. But our correspondence is interesting. Read more about it in a couple of blog posts, including one titled, I think the actual correct title is Blue Mist Plant, Memecylon, Memecylon, from Thursday, March 5th, 2026. And also more recently, from yesterday, Sunday, in the blog post beginning Red Dahlia from Sunday, March 22nd. And Red Dahlia, To the Dance or the Pools, virtually. How different it is to soak at Harbin Hot Springs than to realize it in virtual reality. 2019 Book of Poetry at WUS Press correspondence. So that's the WUS news and question and answer for today, Monday, March 23rd, using the agenda and news from last Monday, March 16th, beginning Ship Rock, New Mexico. And today's WUS news and question and answer agenda and news is in a blog post titled Hindu Kush Mountains that will be posted further to Monday, March 23rd, with its agenda and news for next Monday, March 30th at 10 a.m. Pacific time, and for the agenda and news to season for a week for your feedback, thoughts, observations, thinking as well. So I'll post the recording of today's WUS news and question and answer using last week's WUS news and agenda today to March 23rd, 2026, as kind of video minutes for this WUS weekly business meeting, and also to the Twitter feeds, the LinkedIn feeds, and of course to the YouTube main channel. And see you next week, March 30th, 2026 at 10 a.m. Pacific time, if not before. Check out the YouTube channel, the Twitter X posts, the LinkedIn posts, and related as well. Bye for now, and Looking forward to further conversation about this online in a variety of ways. My email is president@worlduniversityandschool.org. Worlduniversityandschool.org is the main beginning webpage for World University and School. Till next week, bye for now.